with her and I being in the same theater at the same time. You usually hear dad, son. This time it's daddy, daughter. And I love her for that. And I just thank her for her service. Yes.
Awesome. We thank her too.
My name is Robert Perry. I served not quite 3 years in the active Army before Vietnam. I ETS'd, and then I had a 17-year break in service, and I missed it a lot. So I gave my country another 10 years in the Army National Guard, and I was privileged to serve with a lot of people, most of whom aren't with us today. But one or two you've already interviewed. Mr. Mahana, I don't know if I'd believe anything he tells me or not, but he told me I should come up here and talk to you, so here I am.
Okay.
I live in a very small town west of here called Granger. I did a lot of training at Fort Knox, Kentucky, and at one point they looked at my ASVAB scores and they said, this young man can be a radio operator. So they sent me to radio school, and shortly after that started, they got us all together one morning and they said, all right, when you gentlemen leave this school, you will all have critical MOSs. And somebody says, what does that mean? The guy in charge said, well, there's an Army-wide shortage of radio operators, so you can probably pick your own permanent duty station. We're going to pass this piece of paper around. Write down your name, duh, and where you'd like to go. So I thought about it, and I said to myself, I've never been to Europe, so I put down Germany.
Oh, nice.
And the Army, in its infinite wisdom, when I got my orders, assigned me to the 25th Infantry Division in Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. So
Not Germany.
So no, not the last time I looked anyway. So I spent 2.5 years there. Then I decided that I probably ought to get some more education. And when my 3 years were up, I got out, went to college. I don't know if I got any smarter or not, but
I'm sure you did.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. But as I said, I had a 17-year break in service, and I missed a lot of things with the military, so I decided to enlist in the Army Guard, and I spent 10 years. 7 of them I was assigned to a firing battery in Rock Springs, and then thought it was time for a little change, and I applied for a position as a warrant officer. Was selected, so you can fool some of the people all the time. And I spent the remaining 3 years assigned to a detachment in Laramie. So that's where I was, and for how long.
Oh, that's awesome. So what was your favorite part of serving?
I think, when you get to favorite, then it becomes tougher because there were so many things. I think the the comradeship I had. I was making a contribution to my community. I was doing something, it interests me that now you read the statistics and they say that 1% of the general population.
It's actually less than 1% now.
I believe that. So it was, in that respect, I'm sort of a unique individual.
So as a veteran, what do events like this mean to you?
Oh, they mean an awful lot. You look around the room, there are people who have done things I have not. I'm older than dirt, but I look at like these fellows over here. I am not a combat veteran, but I think a lot of times because of my obvious age, people say, "Oh, you're a Vietnam vet, right?" No, but I sure appreciate them. I sent most of my crew over. I ETS'd about 3 weeks before my unit started deploying. One of the things that really warms my heart is that I have looked at the list of names on the Vietnam Wall, and none of my guys are there. I am pleased that at least some of the training I gave them apparently didn't send them home in a body bag.
Yeah, they're home and alive. Yeah.
My name is Dwayne Pacheco. I'm Rock Springs Police Chief.
Okay. And can you tell me how long you served and what branch?
Sure. I was United States Air Force. I was an Air Force Security Police Law Enforcement Specialist. I served for 20 years. I was 4.5 years active duty at Ellsworth Air Force Base, and I served the rest of my time at Hill Air Force Base in Ogden, Utah.
And what's your hometown in Wyoming?
Rock Springs.
So what was your favorite part of serving?
Being part of something bigger than who we are, and just serving my country. I always knew I wanted to serve my country. I didn't know what I wanted to do as far as the job. The Air Force picked my job, the 28th day of basic training, as an open general recruit, and I grew to love the job once I learned the craft and I was able to get on with the Rock Springs PD. I've completed my 31st year. I'm retiring this year, but I would go over 32 years in August of this year.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you as well.
And continue that
Absolutely.
service in the community.
Yes.
So, as a veteran, what do events like this mean to you?
They mean everything to me. For the governor to come to Southwest Wyoming and to show his appreciation to our veterans, and to think that we didn't have that support in the 70s, so hard for us to understand. It's just like what's happening to law enforcement right now, and it motivates me to do better, to show that we're not who people say law enforcement is, and that's what I think our veterans are feeling as well. Those veterans that came back and couldn't wear the uniform with pride. I wear my Air Force uniform and my veteran status with pride every day. The military, just like police officers, the police field, is hard to recruit qualified applicants. A lot of people say they want to be, but can you pass those rigorous tests and the screening to get in? You know that as well as I do. And so to get those qualified applicants, these types of events, we're growing our next veterans with our Boy Scouts and our Webelos and our Girl Scouts and all of those young members of our community that are showing up. And then seeing Grandpa and being recognized by the governor, that's a big deal. Service means to me is putting your country, your community before yourself. And really that's what it's about, because every day that you go to work, you get paid the same regardless if you work 8, 12, 16, 24 hours. It's an entire mindset. And, after 9/11, I was activated for a year from my work as a citizen airman to go back under presidential orders, active duty. And believe me, going back from civilian to active duty was all encompassing, and that feeling that it's so overwhelming, and you realize that, guess what, it doesn't matter how many hours I work, we're dedicated to the mission, and that mindset, people that haven't served do not understand that, and it's okay, they shouldn't, but we understand.
So we're leaving Green River, and on the way out, the Boy Scouts want to get some photos with our leadership and the governor.
Just like when I was in the Army, waiting on the brass.
Vincent. Hi,
Nice to
Vincent.
meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for
You're
your
awesome.
service.
I remember, well, I was a Cub Scout.
3 years.
3 years? Awesome.
Thank you for listening to Wyoming Military Department Now podcast, our special edition on Veterans Day. We welcome you to stay tuned for part 2, which we'll be releasing tomorrow. Thank you.